Everybody, welcome. Hope you're doing great today. Excited to talk to you about kids, something that we talk about sometimes but haven't hit on lately. And this is some latest research coming out from the Mayo Clinic, and pretty fascinating what happens when kids get antibiotics and what we're seeing with symptoms, but also how that relates to what happens in older life and what we're seeing in teenagers and 20-something-year-olds and even in 50 and 60-year-olds. So stay tuned for what I'm going to be talking about and what the research is showing. So Dr. Ben Galliard here, Functional Medicine Centers, Fort Collins, Colorado, Phoenix, Arizona. Go ahead and put down below where you're watching from. We'd love to get as much feedback as possible from you guys. So if you've got questions, anything as we're going through this, go ahead and pop that down below. I'll be trying to keep an eye on that as well. So here's what happened with the Mayo Clinic. This just came out today. And they were looking at over 14,000 kids, and what they found was that the kids that were giving antibiotics before 2 years of age, so basically babies and toddlers, they had a dramatically increased risk of asthma, eczema, allergies, food allergies. Good to see you, Lisa. Celiac disease, so not just, I have a food allergy to gluten, but full-blown celiac disease, even weight and obesity, being overweight and obese, they had a higher rate of doing that, as well as ADD, ADHD, and other brain issues. So how does this happen? How does taking an antibiotic affect all of these other things, and possibly even for you, and if you're dealing with eczema, if you're dealing with autoimmune, anything along those lines? And here's what happens. Antibiotics are not specific to whatever it is that they're trying to attack. So let's say that little kid has an ear infection, has a strep throat, sinus infection, whatever it is, they're going to give that antibiotic and they're going to hope that it kills off whatever that infection is. But what happens is that this is a non-specific type of antibiotic of that medication. Hey there, Sherry, down in Springfield, Missouri. Love Springfield. We lived down the Ozarks in summers for many, many years. So good to see you. And Jason, good to see you up there in South Dakota. So here's what happens. You take that antibiotic and it's not just killing off strep from strep throat or whatever bacteria is in the sinuses or whatever. It does not discriminate. It can kill off anything, any type of bacteria, even the good bacteria. And this is what happens that affects what is called the microbiome. Many of you have heard about eating yogurt, eating sauerkraut, taking probiotics. That is all designed to alter the microbiome, meaning adding more good bacteria to that gut. Good to see you there, Sarah, in Eaton, Colorado. So what that good bacteria does is it adds a lot of different value to our body. It's going to be part of our immune system. It's going to help actually produce fat soluble vitamins and D and A and different things like that. So our microbiome is crucial. They're finding that people have higher obesity, higher chances of being overweight, the more their microbiome is out of balance. And so we're seeing this with kids as well. In the kids that were under 2 years of age, they have higher rates of allergies, food allergies, eczema, asthma. And here's what I see. When I see a kid that has those things, chronic eczema, chronic allergies, they've getting hives, any of those things, guess what's going to come down the road? That's right, autoimmunity. 9 times out of 10, those kids, if they stay on the path they're on, they will eventually have an autoimmune condition because that immune system is so revved up, so irritated, so agitated. That's what eczema in the creases means. That's what having allergies, that's what these exaggerated responses means, is that immune system is over exaggerated, over revved up, and it's ready to attack even its own tissue. So you've got to get this calmed down. You've got to get that microbiome figured out. So whether it's a 2-year-old kid that's been on antibiotics or you're a 42-year-old mom that has been antibiotics and is tired and having food allergies and having some eczema or can't lose weight or you have celiac or your kid has ADD, whatever it is, you've got to look at the gut. Look at the gut because that microbiome is a huge part of what's going to be causing these issues in people. So you kill off the good stuff by taking the antibiotics, the bad stuff's able to get out of control. So you can get yeast, bad bacteria, a lot of different things. And so what we have to do is we have to not only build up the good stuff, but we have to kill off the bad stuff. So things like oil of oregano, black walnut, wormwood, garlic, a lot of different things can kill off. And then we can start building back up as well. And so not just for kids, but anybody, whether you're 40, 50, 60, 20, it doesn't matter. Almost every single one of you, your microbiome is out of balance, and it's going to be contributing to these issues. So Mayo Clinic found that kids under 2 had much higher rates of all these, and they actually had it specific even to if someone's on specific types of antibiotics, they're going to be more likely to have this condition or that condition. So super interesting that they were even able to get it down that way. So and what they also found was the more rounds and the more times they were on antibiotics, the number of conditions went up as well. So it went from just being allergies to now you have asthma and eczema and those allergies. So the more antibiotics somebody's on, the greater chance of these conditions and having multiple conditions. So what do? Well, doctors really need to be hesitant on using antibiotics. So what you have to do is you've got to make sure that if somebody is going on antibiotics, it has to be truly necessary to do that. Otherwise, we could be causing a lot more problems. And most doctors are more open to that concept and thinking about things. So that's where things on the functional medicine side and the natural side, you've got to have those on hand. You've got to be able to do some kill off instead of just waiting for it to get bad enough for that antibiotic. But then if you do go on an antibiotic, you've got to have probiotics on hand and do lots and do everything you can to make that microbiome work as well as feasibly possible. So this is a major issue. A big reason why kids are having so many issues. I always say I see just as many teenagers and 20-something-year-olds in practice as I do 50 and 60-year-olds. And I think this is a huge part of it because people's microbiome, even kids, is getting more and more problematic as we move through society here. And then you've got a lot of other things that come into play with that, including the antibiotics that are on our meats and all types of different things. So remember, get that microbiome in balance. Take as little antibiotics as possible, basically kind of that life or death situation, but do not just go rampantly on antibiotics, whether you're a kid or whether you're an adult. You've got to protect your microbiome with everything you've got. So you guys make it a great day. If you've got any questions, pop them down below, but we'll talk to you soon. Take care.